This is the Zagato AGTZ Twin Tail, and it is two cars in one. For a start, it's a properly coach-built long-tail racer with modern car underpinnings. It's got a profile that speaks of speed and furiously dedicated aerodynamics. Bit of a cliche, but it does look fast, even standing still. The word made in the metal.
But when you're not feeling so committed to slippery stability, you can do this. Unbolt the rear section and have a shortened, more road-friendly version. Plus, I would assume, much easier to parallel park. It's a literal transformer.
Now, Zagato is a fabulously famous Italian coach builder responsible for reworks of everything from Aston Martins to Maseratis to Ferraris, Lancias and everything in between. And it's kind of famous for its double bubble roofs and subtle and not so subtle reworks of other people's cars. I'll let the actual boss explain a little more.
I am Andrea Zagato. I'm third generation of the Zagato family, and I'm the president of the company. Well, Zagato is not automotive manufacturer, he's a coach builder, because we take care of the suites of the car. We don't take care of the technology. The technology could be endothermic, could be electric, could be hydrogen. We always do the same job. We take care of the skin around the technology, the package around the technology. And this is our job since 1919.
But do you recognise the base ingredient here? Hang on, have a guess. And yes, it is an Alpine A110 under there, except it's been entirely reskinned. For a start, we've got this kind of low, clean nose, because if you think about an A110, it has those little circular driving lights in the front, so this one is a lot smoother. And then there's these big teardrop-shaped headlights, which make it look nice and clean. And then you've got those kind of swollen front wheel arches, which then flow up into this wraparound windscreen, and then into Zagato's signature double bubble roof. Once you know there's an A110 underneath there, you can sense the foundation throughout the car, but then you realise that every single panel is bespoke, and because it's all carbon fibre, it's very light.
If you look at a standard A110, the whole side has a completely different look. And when you get to the back, there's this side intake that the standard car doesn't have at all, which then melds into that bolt-on twin pontoon rear tail section.
So it's as simple as a couple of bolts, and you get a cool stand for the garage. Beautiful. And then with that section off, you get these kind of triangular shapes, and then these long horizontal strakes, which kind of focus down into that central exhaust. An exhaust that vents through the centre of the Venturi when the long tail section is attached. As for the inside, you definitely notice the A110 base. It basically is an A110 apart from like some Zagato seats. There's some little panels that say Zagato. Still the same push button gearbox with paddle operation. And the biggest change really is the fact that the window line, the windscreen and the side windows have all sort of compressed, so it feels a lot more cockpity, a lot tighter. And also that the doors are extremely light. There's still a 1.8 litre turbo 4-cylinder mounted in the middle, and you can get these things to about 300 horsepower. But really, this car isn't about the brake horsepower, it's about the design. So I asked the chief designer how he did it. So here's Norihiko Harada, head of design at Zagato, with his thoughts.
We are like a rock band or jazz band. I'm a chief, so I'm supposed to, I control, everything, but also I play music. I'm not like an orchestra director, so I make my sound, listen to other guys make a sound, and I try to put everything together.
I have to say that did take me a while, but it does make perfect sense if you think about it. But the design has roots, and it's not coincidence that Zagato ended up here. And it starts with a Polish Ferrari dealer called Squadra and the less well-known Alpine A220. It's a collaboration that might seem a bit complicated, Italy by way of Poland, so here's Mateusz from Squadra to tell us how it happened.
1.5 years ago, my boss, president of La Squadra, Jakub has met with the Andrea Zagato during some lunch in Italy. They were drinking wine, eating tiramisu, talking about the cars. And Andrea Zagato asked Jakub what we should do next, on which car we should focus next. And Andrea then was thinking about doing something with McLaren. Jakub said, okay, it's a good idea, but maybe you should focus on another brand. Maybe you should do something with Alpine. And this is the end. It was the end of the meeting. Then, a few weeks later, under the shower, Jakub came up with the idea of building a car which is a long tail and in the process is becoming the short tail. And here I need to put you in the picture. In the 60s, Alpine was trying to win Le Mans. They were building bigger and bigger cars. You can imagine French brand in a French race. They were trying to beat Ford, Porsche. So ultimately they built Alpine A220 with the V8 Gordini engine. It was 69. Then unfortunately they had to withdraw from the Le Mans campaign, but the resourceful engineers from Alpine come up with the idea that, okay guys, what if we cut the tail from the long tail and we try to put that car into the rallies and into the hill climbs? So they did it. And it was a chassis 7031, very, very one-off, street legal car, which is the inspiration for the project. Jakub, the president of La Squadra, is a big collector and fan of Alpine, so he knew that story. And he decided to present that idea to Andrea Zagato to build a car which will be based on an Alpine A110 and to, by design, tell this dramatic story of the long-tail car which became the short-tail car.
Now, we probably know that the original A110 was pretty handy in motorsport, but there was also a derivative called the A210. They competed and won at Le Mans in 1966 in a class called the Thermal Efficiency Index.
But this is the A220, the V8 version. This is obviously the long tail, and this was the one that brought the drama. Just look at it. It is absolutely gorgeous. As inspirations go, it doesn't get much better than this. Now, I'm determined that I'm going to fit. I'm not sure how I'm going to fit, but I'm going to try, which will involve posting my bottom. No, I don't know. Genuinely too big to get into this car. How do you do it? Do you kind of go in that way? Oh, it's moving. By the looks of things, people were quite a lot smaller in the late 60s, but even by the standards of the time, this was a small car. Gear shift over on the right, and everything is completely shrink wrapped around the wheels. And then there's that long tail out the back, which sort of you can't see in the rearview mirror. What you can see is the trumpets for the V8 engine, which is in this later A220. And then when this long tail didn't do quite so well as everybody thought, apparently the engineers just got a big angle grinder, chopped the back off, and made the short tail. That's the kind of engineering I appreciate. The AGTZ Twin Tail feels like an homage to one of the best looking cars ever to go racing, rather than some fancy custom. And Zagato's going to build it here in Milan, with La Squadra handling the marketing and sales. The problem is, at €650,000 and only 19 cars being produced, most of them might end up going into private collections and never even turning a wheel.
Except for this one.
Because Paolo has taken me out for a ride in an actual thunderstorm. It's a real car.